Good morning-ish. Yes, morning. I bake in the morning. Why not? Warm the place up. Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, welcome for the first time. If you're not, welcome back. Thanks for putting up with the filming issues I'm having, but I've got it all worked out. So if you're like me and you tend to watch YouTube on your TV, I should fill it out now, and I don't mean that in a bad way. So if you've seen any of my other videos, we have a table. Very excited. It's only temporary. I still hope to get like some sort of wheeling island thing, but in all actuality, this table is huge, so it's perfect that I can have everything on it and show you guys what we're doing. And yeah, now I get to be in front of the camera. I don't have to worry about anything. So the only thing that'll move you is an animal. I do have animals that wander around. We've seen my wobbly tripod, so there's a good chance that an animal's gonna come rub up against it and it's gonna go a little cattywampus, and I apologize for that, but it is what it is. See, here comes a cat. Are you gonna test it? No, thank goodness she went around. Okay, so if you've clicked on this video, you're obviously here because I'm doing a pumpkin bundt cake with a maple brandy, I guess you'd say glaze. Now, the reason why I'm doing the brandy, most people would do maple bourbon. I get it. I have brandy. I had a Victorian tea party and I made something with the brandy, so it's back. I got to use it. So this is what I'm going to do. So I've got everything set up. My only concern is right here. So I'm going to get right into this because, I mean, I'll show you what I've got as I go, and then I'm going to transfer things to the back. Now, it calls for 1 cup of brown sugar. I don't think this is a cup. So we're going to find out. I think I might just get a cutting board just so if I make a mess, it'll be easier to clean it off of it. I probably should have done this from the get-go instead of doing it on my instructions. So, one thing at a time. And I have the use of the back counter, so this will be nice. The only time you'll be moving is if, like, I have to go to the stove or something and show you something over the stove. But I think for the most part, especially for baking, we'll probably just keep it like this. This table is going to be a nuisance to me most days of the week, but that's okay. We'll figure it out. I'll find some way to stash it. Oh, I might not. Oh, I underestimated the power of the brown sugar. This also calls for a granulated sugar, so I like to cut back my sugar wherever I can. I found most recipes, I think I've said this before, but again, I found most recipes you can cut back almost to like a 1/4 cup. I mean, depending. It's almost like, I shouldn't say a 1/4 cup, a 1/4 percentage of whatever the sugar is. So if it's a cup, then yeah, I can usually cut it back by 1/4 cup and not notice the difference, especially if you're doing glazes or icings. I mean, you don't want doubly, well, I mean, maybe some people do, but I'm not a huge fan of doubly sweet. So bonus is I had all this out because I thought I was going to run out of brown sugar, so I was going to make some in case you at home maybe have the same issue. All it is 1/2 cup. Well, actually, we can do 1 cup. So 1 cup of granulated sugar to about 1 tablespoon of maple syrup, molasses. We'll put it at around like a light brown sugar consistency. If you want it a bit darker, you can add a bit more. And if you are going to do it, I do recommend, just kind of doing it at the beginning, let it sit for a while. That's why that was going to be the first thing I did before this. But again, now I just saved myself some dishes. I don't have to mess around with the molasses. So I'll take that as a win all day. So we're going to keep this. So perfect. Problem is I didn't need that yet. I think it's just going to end up going into a bowl anyways. This is a new recipe to me, so normally I write my recipes out, but ever since the whole chronic pain thing, I've kind of cut back on writing things out because there's so many other things I have to do that it just seems almost, I don't know if I'd say, like, it just seems silly to waste the little bit of strength that I have in my hands doing something like that when I could be baking a cake instead and just print it. So If I'm correct, most of these, pour the wet ingredients into the dry. Okay, so I'm happy I read that. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to put that over there. I usually use a small bowl when it comes to dry ingredients, bigger bowl for wet, but I'm happy I read this because the fact that the wet's supposed to go into the dry, we're going to reverse that. So I'm going to put the sugar, because the sugar is actually part of the wet pile. Okay, so I don't have to worry about that now. Bonus. Okay, so I might as well just get the sugar done so I can just get it out of the way. This bowl again was supposed to be for mixing sugar. We don't need to. So what's it say for just granulated? Okay, so this one says 3/4. So I've got this little quarter cup and I'm going to do exactly like I say. So I did a full thing of the brown sugar because, choices. That was my choice. So I think I'm only going to do half a cup. And that's it. And I will, regardless of the uncooked egg, I'll test the batter. It hasn't killed me yet. I'm an 80s baby. I've been living off cookie dough for a minute, so I'll be fine. Okay, what else have we got? So sugars are done, out of my way. Cool. We'll set that aside because it's going to actually get the oil next. So we're going to move on. I'm going to get this out of my way too because I don't think I need it now. So now we're going to move on to the flour. I got a handy little sifter guy here. Just again, it's always good to do. Nobody likes clumps, so I like to just go with it. It's not that hard. You can pick these things up at the dollar store. And if you're the type of person that you don't bake very often, you think this is tedious, having to scoop and level and all that stuff, feel free to look at the weight instead of the actual 1 cup. Look at how many grams it is. Get yourself a scale and all you have to do is scoop it into a bowl. So that might be a little bit easier to you than doing it I guess the good old fashioned way. But if you do it the way I am, it's always good to have a separate scoop to put in. If you ever bake and wonder why, I followed the recipe and I'm going to make a big mess here. If you do one of those, I followed the recipe and it tastes like flour, odds are it's because when you jam your flour cup into the container, it's almost like brown sugar. You're going from having it lightly packed to having it densely packed because flour is really fluffy. So you can actually end up adding more than what you think. So by using a separate scoop, you add it in, you're adding the air in, and you don't have to worry about too much flour. If anything, sometimes it can be less than, and you have to add maybe a little bit more, especially when it comes to doughs that you're doing where maybe you're doing like a cookie cutter or even a bread dough. But that's simple enough just to sprinkle a little bit more in if it's still a little sticky. So no big deal. So 2 3/4 cup. Actually, you know what? We're gonna set this down because I'm gonna sift. So that's it. Making it snow in here. Done. We'll get on to the next one. So good. I only have one more big cup because this always makes a mess. I won't lie. This is the one time there's usually a mess in the kitchen. It's the flour's fault. It's not my fault. It's the flour's fault. We're going to see. Maybe we can do this. Oh, I think I might have just found a new way to do my flour. Right when I don't need it. That's okay. I don't think I need this again. We're going to put you in this bowl because it'll be a simple rinse. So there's my 2. My dog is chewing on his toy in the background and he's going right savage on it. He's a husky. He eats everything. He chews everything. Finally found a toy that he doesn't get through. He tries, he frays it, but he hasn't actually gotten into it. So I'm very happy with that. And it's a plush. Who would have thought? Kong toys he ends up eating, and I don't get it. I've got a dog that's 3 times bigger than him, and he's so gentle. You could buy him those really cheap dog toys, the plush ones that, I mean, you sneeze and they fall apart. And yeah, it'll be fine with him. Sorry if I keep banging. I don't know what that's going to sound like on the mic. Okay, what did I do with the... Oh, I put it behind me. Silly me. My husky's looking at me like he's going to start arguing with me while I'm on camera. I'm just going to put this away. I mean, why not? It belongs right here. I did some cleaning of my cupboards here because I knew that it's getting into some hardcore baking season. I still do quite a bit in the summertime, but not as much as the fall, winter. Partially due to the flavors. I won't lie, I really love fall flavors. I love baking for Christmas. I always do baking for Christmas. And it's always so hot in the summertime that it's just, I don't even want to turn the oven on to cook dinner, so to bake, it just seems silly. Actually, you know what? I am going to keep this because, wait a minute, I got some spices to do. What am I doing? Getting ahead of myself here, everybody. Okay. I've got a little bit of a flour mess and it's bothering me. Okay, you know what? We're going to get all this powder stuff done, and then I'm going to pause to clean my mess because I made a mess. I made a mess, guys. I did it. I knew it was going to happen. It always happens. Ah! Okay, that was terrifying. It happened off camera, so nothing happened. Nothing happened. It was just some silly hands. That's that chronic pain kicking in. I usually end up losing grip. It's always a good time. But enough about that. Back to what we're doing here. Let's get some teaspoons of soda. Right? Did I say soda? Yep. And this says soda on it. It looks like soda. Well, that's nice. It's not clumped at all. Beautiful. Okay, 2 teaspoons. Another thing too, when you're baking, if you find yourself like, oh, did I add that? Didn't I add that? Because, I mean, obviously your flour and like things like soda and powder look the same. Soda and powder look the same, sound the same. Always put it to the side. Like, so if you're just working off of one counter, you can move it away, and just anytime you do something, check it away, and then take that minute before you actually start mixing and put all of your stuff back into your cupboard. And then you're not confused about, oh, did I do this? Did I do that? Did I add this? Didn't I? Because I even had this just the other day. I thought I had everything, and I looked at the counter, and boom, there was an ingredient sitting on the counter. And I was like, oh, I don't think I put that in. I didn't. I did after. So it's a good thing to just be aware of your surroundings. And if you just get in the habit of putting it away, I mean, it'll keep things a bit cleaner as you go. And it'll be easier to know whether or not you've added or not added an ingredient. So take everything out that you need, measure it, put it all back. Okay, what have I got here? So this is allspice. I don't know why I bent over like that to look at it. I probably could have just lifted it up to my eye level, but that's fine. It's my channel. I'm going to look at my spices how I want to. Okay. We set that aside. Allspice. Done. Okay. Oh, so the ground nutmeg. So I cheated. I did this before. So this is my ground nutmeg. Now, the reason why I said I cheated is because this is my nutmeg. I got whole nutmeg from my mom once, and one, it's lasted me forever. But two, I can't say enough about freshly ground nutmeg. It is hands down, like, it's not, you can't even compare it. You can't even compare it to already ground nutmeg. So, for me here in Canada, ground nutmeg is pretty common. Whole nutmeg, I've never in my lifetime seen anybody use it until my mom, who obviously didn't end up using a lot of it because she gave it to me. So, but here we are. It's wonderful. Love it. Absolutely love it. So I already ground that up beforehand. I just wanted to show you what I used to do it. And then, yeah, we got this really fine stuff. So we'll put it in there. Perfecto. You know, we're going to move that back there too. Okay. On to the next. Oi. Don't knock things over now. This is the cloves. I should just look. Everything's half a teaspoon. And it's, again, everything's obviously ground. We don't want whole chunks in there. I'm not throwing whole nutmeg. Ain't nobody gonna be eating them. Ginger, half a teaspoon. You could cheat and do the pumpkin pie spice or pumpkin spice. I don't know what it's called. I have some, but I have all the whole ingredients anyways, so why not just technically make my own? I'll use some of the pre-made stuff as a little bit of a sprinkle on top. You'll see that later. But for now, they can just stay in the cupboard. I don't need it. I don't need it crowding my space. And then 2 teaspoons of cinnamon. I've had this jar kind of longer than the cinnamon itself because once I ran out of cinnamon, I just washed it and then I buy the bag stuff because it's cheaper and then put it back into here. It's perfect. Okay, that's all done. That's all done. Oh my god. This is for after because the glaze is kind of separate. I just like the way it looks, so I left it. And I got my own little kitchen mascots going on over here. You'll probably see them. They'll interchange, I'm sure. I haven't quite named them, but we'll get to that. See, I had a few bigger pieces of my ground nutmeg because I did it myself. So this beautiful thing took it out for me, so I don't have to worry about it. Okay, I'm pretty sure I still need this because I have to do the vanilla. Okay, so flour's ready to go. I'm gonna get a whisk. I'm gonna clean this mess up, and then yeah, we'll proceed. I'm gonna mix this one all by hand. We're not gonna use any machines. So okay, we gotta preheat the oven here. So preheat your oven to 350 if you're making this. That'll be, I usually write that in the instructions. So, what are we doing? No, I'm just kidding. Okay, bundt cakes. So we've got all of our dry stuff put together. I'm going to give it just a little bit of a whisk just to blend in all the seasoning so it's not just sitting, and we don't want the soda all in one spot. So it's almost double sifted, which is actually, it's gonna make for a nicer cookie too. It's not dense. It's well mixed, evenly dispersed. Perfect. Okay, we're gonna set that off to the side. Hopefully not too far off that it falls off, because that would be bad news. Okay, so this is our wet. Now, same thing. I don't know what I'm doing here. Okay, so we're gonna do this. Okay, so we're gonna leave that. So now it's going to be the eggs, oil, sugar, pumpkin, vanilla. So all of that's going in here. Perfect. That means I can get rid of these because it's all I was holding on to them for right now. It's a teaspoon of vanilla. Oh, hanging out with the brandy. You think you're alcohol. Oh, actually it is, isn't it? Okay, well you all are an alcohol, but still. Teaspoon. Not gonna sing the rest of that. Don't ask me why I store it in the fridge, but I store it in the fridge. It's just where it lives. Okay, there's no judgment. Okay, so this one calls for a cup of oil, vegetable oil. So I like to get down to eye view here. Oh, this is gonna be a minute. So how is your day? Yeah, mine too. Just waiting on this oil. Oh, we're almost there. I know I don't use oil often when it comes to cakes, but I know the few times that I have used it, it has been a really airy light cake. So, it's probably the one time I'm okay. And I mean, I try to keep a lot of my recipes pretty healthy, but when it comes to baking, again, there's only so much you can do. If you want guilt-free baking, just don't eat it because sometimes it's just not worth it. It's not as good. Don't get me wrong, I've had some sugar-free stuff. I've used monk sugar. I've used coconut sugars. I've used, I think, just natural raw sugars. I mean, I've used all of these things in baking, and sometimes they have a little bit of an aftertaste. Sometimes they don't. But, I mean, why mess with the good thing? Okay, and then last but not least, I think it just said the pumpkin was the only other thing. So oil, sugars are in there. Oh, I said eggs too, didn't I? Yeah, I'm gonna have to crack in all my eggs. Oh my god, there's so many eggs. There's 4 eggs. Okay, so, and then the pumpkin. So this is supposed to be, I guess, like a 15-ounce can. I was hoping to have some fresh from my garden, but I'm not gonna talk about it. Um, I got the big boy can, so I had to measure mine out because I believe this is half of the big boy can. So the other half, I'm either going to be doing another recipe with pumpkin, or I'll probably make a dog treat or something for the dogs with it. That I probably won't film. People don't seem to be very interested in dog treats, so I've tested the waters. Oh goodness, this is like some mad experiment going on here with all this stuff. I can see why I can just blend this by hand. Maybe I should have gotten a bigger bowl, though. I don't know what I was thinking here. Do that, because that's where it's going to go. Okay, before I even add in the eggs, I'm just gonna, maybe don't make the same mistake I did. Maybe get a bigger bowl. I spilled the oil. I didn't even see that I spilled the oil. Oh my goodness. I'm such a slob. I am so sorry. Why didn't you guys tell me this? Okay, we'll just hide that there. You can't see that, right? Oh, that's nasty. Okay, well, that is hard on the hands. Whoa, okay, it's a good thing these bowls have silicone bottoms, because that would have been a goner. This would have ended here. It would have come up as a recipe fail. I probably would have laughed and then cried. Oh, there we go. Oh, that looks delicious. It kind of reminds me of pumpkin pie. Okay, next is the eggs. So, I just recently had an injury on my finger. I think I put that in the last video. But anyways, so my cracking isn't all it's up to be. So we're gonna crack into this bowl, and then we're gonna plunk her in. I think I might even do it 1 egg at a time, because that's always a good thing to do when it comes to eggs, is do them one at a time. Make sure you get it blended in nice. Don't overdo it, mind you, because again, over blending things is never good, but you can always get it started, so at least the one is partially blended by the time you get the next one in, and the next one, and as you continue to blend, it's gonna, yeah. So. I love the fall season. Absolutely love it. I mean, when it comes to gardening, obviously it's not my favorite season, because everything starts to shut down and it's all like dying and withering away, and it's sad. But in the same sense, I really do. I love that. I guess, see, I must smash that one. I love the crisp air of fall, the leaf changing. And I'm one of those suckers that does like some snow for Christmas. After that, it can go wherever it wants to, but snow for Christmas is always a must. We'll be doing some winter hikes this year. Go check out maybe some frozen waterfalls. They're pretty cool. I watched some people climb some once. It was actually really, really crazy. And as I'm watching, thinking, like, isn't that cold? What if they bust through? One of their picks went through, and you heard, I think it was him, you heard him scream with the shock of the cold water that came out. So I imagine that's some risky stuff, but obviously if I'm watching them from a safe place, I mean, it wasn't too far off where they could go to warm up. I mean, the parking lot was pretty much right there, so, but really cool to see. So gotta go check that out with the parents this winter. Hopefully it's a good winter. I want things to freeze. Okay, so that's it. We've completely mixed this. Now we're gonna pour this into that one. And then we're just gonna whisk until it's completely combined, and then we're gonna put it. Now you can do this in a big bundt pan. I don't think I own one. I don't even know. I didn't even bother to dig because I bought this one off of Amazon. I absolutely love it. I've only used it the one time for the tea party. But I really like it. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to hit you. Nothing stuck to it. It worked really well for me. So I'm gonna stick to it. I'm gonna use this one again. I'm just gonna, I think I might have to give it a little bit of a wipe out, but that's fine. But I'm gonna use this one again. So for a full-size bundt cake, you're probably looking at like 55 to 70 minutes. Because I'm doing these little guys, it's gonna cut me down to 20 to 25 minutes for a tray. So, and you're only supposed to fill them half full, just like you do. I think cupcakes are the same, muffins are usually the same. You kind of want to, give them some space. So, okay, perfect. Perfect. I love this. This smells so good. Why do I still have this? Oh, I might need this spatula. That's why I still have that there. Okay. Actually, I am going to use that spatula right now. We're going to put this in the sink. And we're going to just pour this in. I love baking. I think I've been baking before I was even talking. I doubt, with how much I talk, highly doubt that. But, I definitely feel like it's in my blood. I love to do it. Just like cooking, I have an eye for what's good, what's not. It didn't start off that way. I mean, I remember when I first moved out, phoning up my dad and asking dad if he like what to add to, I think it was like a pork chop or something. And he was just laughing at me like, well, what do you like? And I listed off some seasonings I like. He's like, well, then add it. Add all of them. I was like, really? It's that simple? So definitely took me a while when it came to dinners. Even like I've only been vegetarian for about a year now. And just before I went vegetarian, I had made the best tikka masala chicken I've ever had in my life. I made the best beef barley soup I'd ever had in my life. Like it's crazy. Like first of all, timing. Just as I give up meat, I make some of the best meat dishes I've ever had. But it just goes to show that like even though I spend so much time in the kitchen, so much time cooking, so much time baking, that even this late in my life, like well not late, I'm not dying in my late 30s, that I'm still learning, perfecting, doing new recipes. So it's one of those things you just never stop. We just got to get our kids into it now. Okay, I think I'm happy with how that's whisked together. I'm gonna move it around here with this spatula. We're gonna put this here. And yes, I switched whisks. My other one's a little bit tighter wound. And when I find when it comes to batters like these, that stuff tends to stick in there a lot more than the one I just used, which it's just got more spacing between the wires. So, and right now I'm just scraping the bottom of the bowl, the sides of the bowl, just making sure that we don't have any flour gaps, which we don't. Okay, I'm going to test that. Because I did cut back my sugar. No, I think that's fine. Perfectly fine with that. So, you've seen I cut back a quarter cup of sugar. I'll write that in. Because I always like to write what I did and what you can do. And you might notice too, in some of my descriptions, I will also add what I wish I'd done differently. Like my Chinese 5-spice, as much as I love that stir fry, it was a bit too salty for me, but I was using soy sauce, less sodium, of course. But the soy sauce and the broth I used, because I wasn't using a sodium-free broth, because the chickenless and beefless broths have sodium. My goodness, I can't talk. Sodium in them. So that was a little bit overpowering. And I wish I had green onions, but I like to try to cook and bake with what I've got. I mean, mind you, I don't have pumpkin lying around the cupboards. Obviously it's fall season. I'm going to go out of my way to get the few ingredients I need. But for the most part, I like to use what I've got on hand, especially when it comes to vegetables. I mean, I don't want it to go bad. Okay, my dog is making a mess. I'll be right back. Okay, it's actually a good thing the dog interrupted me because I had to wipe this out anyways. Again, clean up my mess because that's just how I roll. And here we are back at it. So, looks good. I'm just going to use the double scoop method here. So, I'm going to just use 2 spoons. It's not an exact science. I'll probably, um, I'll probably slam it down on the table a little bit to even it just before I cook it. But this is it. Excuse me. Sir, nobody's here. Nobody's here. Just calm yourself. I don't know if anybody else out there has a dog who just barks at everything, but even though I've blocked the window, he sees any flicker of movement and there's a tree out there, he just goes off. So I apologize for the rude interruption. Can't talk today. It's too early, apparently. Alfie, say you're sorry. In a quiet tone, please. Say you're sorry. Okay, he's not gonna say it. He's like zoned in on the corner of my door right now. It's kind of cute. Kind of cute. I can see him. No, I like this because this is a good angle for me. What you don't realize is that in the background that I can see where my dogs like to hang out. So I can kind of keep an eye on them and a little bit of the living room. Oh, I might have put too much in there, but that's fine. It says half full. I always go overboard. What else? I'm sure it'll be fine. If it won't, I mean, if it's not English, Christy, it's your first language. Come on now. If it's not okay, you'll see it. So don't make the same mistakes I do. Learn from them. I really didn't need the second spoon yet, to be honest with you. It's more of a at the end of the batter thing, but well, this is it. I mean, I don't what do you want to talk about? Because I got nothing to say about this recipe. It looks like a cake batter. I'm going to be here for probably the entire day scooping out these little mini cakes. I'm probably going to end up with 100 of these things. I didn't realize how much cake batter this was. Oh my goodness. You need to stop, sir. Okay, well, considering my dogs are barking anyways, we'll leave it at that. I'm going to get these filled, pop them into the oven, 350 for, stop! 350 for 20 to 25 minutes. Okay, so second step is our maple brandy glaze. It's going to be in 2 parts. So first part, we're going to go over to the stove. We're going to brown some butter in a pan, and then that's going to come over here into this bowl, and we're going to add all this other stuff into it, which I'll explain as we go. And hopefully by then the cakes are done and cooled. So I've taken 2 tablespoons of butter. In my case, it's usually a vegan butter, but it doesn't matter. Any type of butter does well, will work, whatever. So yeah, 2 tablespoons of butter. We're going to melt it and we're going to brown it. So we're probably looking for oh man, I don't even know how to put it. Probably not quite as dark as a maple syrup, unless it's one of those light buttery looking ones, but like you still want it kind of dark. Like you kind of almost want it to burn in essence. Like again, you can't see me. I'm going like burn because you want it to get relatively dark. Like you're kind of roasting your butter here. You want it to almost have that just before burnt, I guess you would say. But it's called browning butter, but it's just the way it looks. Yeah, unless you've done it before, it's an odd process. So, oh really, Alfie? Please stop. This is horrible. What time is it? Is like school? No, see, it's only 12:41. Again, he barks at everything, but if he hears voices outside, he'll bark at them. So I'm thinking, okay, maybe if school's out, kids are coming home, maybe he can hear them and he's barking at them, but no, no. Okay, let's hope he doesn't ruin this. Yeah. I hope that comes in. That's my butter ASMR. This is what we want. Medium heat. I don't brown butter too often. I mean, I do, but I don't. It's almost like people that are scared to cook chicken and end up always overcooking it. I'm kind of like that with browning butter because I know that it doesn't take much for it to go from being brown to burnt. So, is that a golden brown? I mean, it's definitely not yellow anymore. But I don't want it to just taste like butter. I don't know. I've done brown butter bars, and they were really good. I think I've also done something else with brown butter. I can't remember though. But I always just feel like it's never enough. Well, I did pudding. I did a pudding that was supposed to be butterscotch, and I called it brown butter because that's what it tasted like. Okay, here it is, guys, gals, and everybody else. I'm not saying that in a bad way. I just mean trying to include everybody. So this is it. These are the tiny little cakes. You might see that some are a little bit lighter. The first batch, it didn't, of course, serious timer issues. It didn't set my time properly. So, but I did the little cake test thing where you put a toothpick in. It came out clean. So I left it. And then I did the second batch for 20 minutes. You might, thank you. Little dog nose. And they're a little bit darker, but I think it's supposed to be that way. So, I've got this for the cakes because we are, yeah, I was going to say, I should make sure this is on. Sorry for the technical difficulties. I won't touch that again. So we're going to end up putting the cakes onto there and we're going to end up drizzling this. But for right now, I might as well just get it all started. Everything goes into the same bowl and then gets poured on top. So again, my trusty little sifter, I use the blunt end of the knife to run through the icing sugar or powdered sugar or what's the other one? There's another one. Icing sugar, powdered sugar. I don't know. Whatever you want to call it. It's the fluffy one. Okay, so I don't need this anymore. We're going to set this over to the side. Add it to my dish pile. I've already measured out the maple syrup. I believe it was, yes, Alfie, wander around, sir. I'm working here. Go lay down. What did I say here? Okay, so 2 tablespoons of butter in the pan. It's a cup of, confectioner's sugar, I guess is the other term for it. I'm just going to call it icing sugar. So, quarter cup of maple syrup. We're going to add a tablespoon of the brandy. And then you can also add on top, like I'm doing the pumpkin spice because it's what I have. But if I had pecans, trust me, there'd be toasted pecans on this. I don't, so it's okay. I'm not too concerned about it. The point of doing these things again is to try to use what I've got, because baking can be expensive if you're using ingredients you don't usually use. I mean, it's that simple. So all of this is supposed to go in. I'm not 100% sure on the icing sugar because anytime I've made an icing, I've never added the full amount because it's been too much. Okay, you need to go, sir. Go to your bed. It's always been too much. It was always too sweet. So I've sifted a full cup. Whether or not I'm going to use it, we'll see. I'm going to add all these ingredients in right now. My dog is smelling something he wants over here because, my goodness, he is pacing. What do you do? And then our tablespoon of brandy. I'm so used to shaking things first because I'm used to it being like a syrup or something. Extract. I don't think I need to shake brandy. Oh, look at that. Beautiful. I'm gonna see too. I might, if I can get away with it, I might dye this orange. I don't know if it's gonna work, so we're gonna see what this color comes out as because I have no idea. I can smell the booze. This kind of reminds me, it almost looks like the maple topping they'd put on the donuts. It's like the same color. I can tell you, this is not your donut store's maple topping. Okay, let's try some of this on the side. Yeah, see, I don't think I'd add more sugar to that. Unless the sugar is what makes it glaze over. I don't know. Maybe that's my downfall. Maybe it won't harden because I'm not using enough. But I don't want it to take away from it. Oh, I don't know what to do. Okay. It's like, okay, we'll add a bit more. Okay, that's it. That's all I'm adding. I'm not adding any more because I already feel like this is too much, but I'm worried that it's not going to form like a hardened glaze because I don't do this type of glaze very often. Like I said, I'm always experimenting. I'm always learning new things when it comes to the kitchen and baking and cooking. So, but I think this is going to be it. So, again, we're going to clear our spot here. We'll get all this stuff put away. And I don't think I can add color to this because it's already brown. So, I think maybe we'll just leave it brown. It's a fall color, so that works. I'm okay with that. Here it is, all on a tray. Well, actually, technically not all of them. There are 5 that aren't, because there's the sample one that's in my belly, and then there's 4 that didn't fit on the tray, but that's fine. If I don't glaze them, I'll just leave them the way they are. So, I'm sure I probably could have browned this glaze more, but it is what it is. I'm gonna keep it. So, this is my plan. Probably start off small, do a row at a time, add some of the pumpkin spice to it. I apologize if you can hear my dog in the background. As I said, this is just a weird dog day. I don't know what is going on. So again, I'll probably go over these a few different times just because I don't know. And then of course it's going to soak into the bottom, but I mean, pretty much the gist of it. If I have more icing or icing sugar, maybe it would be thicker. But either way, I'm gonna coat these and then I'm gonna toss them in the fridge. I don't know if I'll do pumpkin spice on all of them because it seems to be pretty finicky. But I mean, that's it. I'll show you what it looks like when it's all done.